Thank you for joining us on the porch. We hope you're enjoying the Denim and Pearls podcast, where we share the nuances and lessons we've garnered from throughout our combined 40 years of life experiences. Talk from the porch is always serious, but full of laughter, and we're glad you're here with us. Hello, my name is Dr. Michelle Moras.
And I'm Brian Swanson.
You have reached Denim and Pearls.
Here we are. It's a new year, it's a new time, it's a new everything. But in the process, we're going to talk about invisible touch today. But first, don't forget to like and share and all those other fun things. And we're covering invisible touch. And who are we?
We're Denim and Pearls. We're business casual
With pearls of wisdom.
from the porch.
All right.
So invisible touch.
Formalities are over.
Invisible touch. Well, the thing about invisible touch is how to lead without micromanaging.
How to lead without. Does that just mean you don't pay attention to details?
No, that's nowhere near that. Invisible touch and with visible leadership is by empowering the people who are on your team. So basically, you empower them so that they take on more responsibility instead of you doing everything. And you have a really good example of it with the Not So Mini Con. You have a board and you said, okay, this is my big idea. This is my vision. This is what I believe in and what I
Right.
want to see. You have great skills in this. You do this. You've got great skills in this. You do this. And you divided it all up.
Right.
And then you stepped away. You had some people who do, yeah, I've got this, and took off. And then you had some people who went, I don't know what to do. There's too much freedom. I don't want this freedom. And so with an invisible touch, with an invisible leadership, there's bonuses, but there's also some negatives. Your team has to be able to handle that type of leadership.
Yes, the team does, and so does each individual has to be able to do it. Leadership and management are a big conversation with me. I just love those two topics because a lot of people think they're the same and they're not. So now you bring in a new one, or you call it invisible. Now you talk about invisible, but I think that's kind of the way leadership in general has to be anyway. You have to know your people. You have to know what each one of them can do, what their trades are, what their skills are, and even what their personalities are, so that you know how to manage them, lead them, handle them. Handle is the word I like the best, but it's not always the best word.
That's not the best word, because with invisible leadership, it's the polar opposite of handling it. It's trusting them.
Well, I think it's still handling. When I think of the word handling when it comes to leadership, I need to know how to look at a person and know what their skills are. I have to know that their personality requires a hands-on or a no hands-on approach.
It's called building your team.
So that's what I mean by handling.
That's building your team.
That's why I said handling is probably not the best word, but that's the way I look
So
at
there's
it.
4 aspects to invisible leadership. There's the key aspects of invisible
Blah, blah, blah.
is common purpose. So common purpose is you have to have a vision so everyone agrees with it. They all know.
Right.
And then the other one was empowering them, is knowing their skill sets and trusting them that they are going to do it, and only doing touch points. In 30 days, I'm going to check. 30 days, give me a feedback. When you have
Right.
your weekly meetings of, okay, where are you on this scheme that we have to have done in the next 12
Right.
months? And then the next one,
I like this one.
okay,
It goes totally against my grain though.
okay, and then
Influence without authority.
yes,
Because if you can influence without giving it authority, in my opinion. So it's guiding and impacting others through action, support, and clear vision, those kind of things. But when I think of authority, you better be listening to me.
Well-
That's what my authority was when I grew up.
well, and my thing is with true leadership, the true leader doesn't have to say they're the leader.
Right.
They walk with respect. They talk with respect. They don't expect anything out of anybody in their team that they wouldn't do themselves.
Right.
And the team understands that the team understands that they are not going to take advantage of me just because they're the leader. That's when that kind of leadership works. Influence is, I respect you enough as a leader that I trust that you're not going to do me wrong. Therefore, I will do everything that you want me to,
Right.
without question.
Through today's society, even from way back in when, it's just has become prevalent over the last 15 years or so. Authority basically meant you do what I say, what I do, and then how the influences work and actually were done in a negative impact And that's why we see a lot of things that we've seen. If you make the news in your leadership, you're probably not doing too good. It's
A
a
bad thing.
bad thing in that position. But I do like this next one, subtle forces, using unseen dynamics. And I think to change behaviors. When I think of this one, I specifically go to my passiveness because I have the ability to ask questions in order to influence so that you make your own decision. So to me, that is subtle.
Well, and I use this form of leadership in my household.
Well, that's where the look comes in. That's where the mom thing comes in, I think.
No, actually not at all.
The
It's
mom look.
no, it's very subtle. Let's say my eldest, I'll go to her and say, "You are very organized and you are very good at setting out limits and times and knowing how long something will take and what steps are needed. I need you to figure out what's going to happen in the house this week." And she says, "Got it." And she'll make this plan of who's washing. Oh, so and so works till 6 o'clock tonight. So so and so needs to make dinner. She does that.
She's actually structured.
Very
I did
freaking
not know that.
ridiculously structured. But that is how I work in our house. So my husband and I, we have this mutual thing of respect of each other, of course, but of our children and where they can be and what they do
Mhm.
and what their skill sets are. So I never say, "Did you wash the dishes yet?" I'll go up and do, "Hey, what about the schedule?"
How's your schedule look? What are you supposed to be doing right now?
Or I do it opposite. I'll do, "What was my duty this week? What was I supposed to get done?" "Oh, you were supposed to clear out that closet you said you wanted to clear." "Oh, okay, thanks." I already know.
The
Just
answer is
I
never
already
ask a
yeah,
question unless you know the answer.
yeah, I already know what it is. It's just a slight indication to her that I know something's happening. So she'll do what she needs to get done as she advises me of what I need to get done. You see how that
Uh-huh.
works?
I'm
So
with you.
I'm
I'm
not
totally with you.
ordering, I'm not telling. I just let her have the responsibility, even though I already know.
Well, you're lucky enough that it works for her because there's some people that doesn't work for.
No, my kids.
I would probably be the last one that would work for. I mean, during certain because the wife likes to say something about, we were supposed to do this today. We were? Yeah, I told you yesterday. Okay, what am I supposed to be doing?
Well, and
I don't
that actually leads into the negative aspects of invisible leadership. So when you do something like that, some people will take more responsibility than they need to.
Right.
They know so and so is having a bad day and so and so had a bad week, so I'm going to take all of their stuff, and they start taking other people's things
Right.
and doing them, and then they get burned down. They do, but I did what I was supposed to do, and I just don't know. It's because they outreached. It's a burden they take on. So as an invisible leader, you must understand the limitations emotionally, physically of the people in your team on who is going to be the one who's going to try to take the duties off of everybody else.
Right.
So there's that unseen burden, and then you've got the what was the other one? The burnout, where they do, "Okay, I'm done. I've just done everything, and no one else is helping. No one's helping." And moms are huge on this. "I washed the dishes, I cooked, I cleaned this house, and everybody keeps messing it up." No, it's because you keep doing it, or after you let someone else do it because it's their duty, you don't think it's good enough, and then you do it again. That is a burden that you take on. It is your choice,
In my house, it's the other way around.
but it's still a choice.
I pick it up and somebody else comes along and then just like totally destroys it. And then it's like, you never do anything.
I
Wait a
did.
minute. Yeah, I just cleaned up your mess the last 3 days and you had never said anything, but you're going to complain because I left a fork on the table or
But the
whatever.
same thing happens in work and at home. There's someone who's always going to do more or do it fast, and then it gets messed up before anyone checks.
Mhm.
And then everyone's like, "Well, that person never did it." Well, actually did it. They did it faster than you anticipated, and it got messed up again.
Or didn't, because my big thing is with like what I say, saying about the house right now, it is also the fact that sometimes you just don't say anything when you do it. You don't necessarily want the credit.
Yeah.
In other words, I cleaned the dishes, cleaned up the kitchen because our kitchen is the biggest turmoil in our house.
It's the common room.
But I'll clean the kitchen and nobody goes, I don't know. I don't expect anybody to go, "Well, you did such a fantastic job today. I'm glad you cleaned the kitchen today. I was going to get that done. I'm so thank you very much." I'm not expecting that. I just go in, I do what I need to do, and I move on. But what I don't like, where I get the lack of appreciation, in my opinion, because I'm guilty of things too, but where I get it when the spouse comes up and says, "Well, you're always destroying this thing and you never clean it up and you never do anything." You don't understand the last 3, 4, 5, 6 days that I just picked up all your stuff and didn't say a word. And you're now all of a sudden, because there's a little bit of a mess that I left and didn't clean up today. Now I never do anything.
Well, my thing is, I'm an early riser, and my husband's even earlier than me. So he'll go through, do what he has to do, and get to work. I'll get up at 5:30 as he's walking out the door, clean the whole kitchen up, and then I go off to the gym. And
Right.
then when I come home, I'm like, "Where'd all these dishes come from? I swear that."
They weren't here when I left.
Yeah, but what I've learned is the way our schedules are in our household, we all hit the kitchen at a different time. I happen to like the kitchen far cleaner than everybody else. So I have taken it as a given. I will let it be as it is in the afternoon, but I will fix it to my liking every morning.
Yeah, well, I'm also a big believer, which is, I mean, I've got children too, and it's been 30 some years, and I still say and preach the same thing. Pick up after yourself.
It's-
I mean, when I make something,
but
I wash things or put them in the dishwasher as I go along. I can't teach my 30-year-old to do that, or my wife.
but in silent, but in invisible leadership, you don't say it.
Well, I know, but trust me, I've tried every technique in the book.
Because in invisible leadership, instead of saying, "Why don't you pick up after yourself?" it would be more like, "Hey, whose sock is this?"
Well, I've tried that. That one happens all the time because
Yeah,
he
I
likes to
know.
leave his socks everywhere. So the one thing that I've never tried to do that my mom did to me, if you left a mess and mom was torqued off and you went to bed and she was up after you,
You put it in your room.
she'd take it and drop it in your bed.
Yeah, that's our generation's parents.
I mean, it's either
What
that
are we?
or get you up at 3 o'clock in the morning because she just happened to get up. And at 3 o'clock in the morning, drag your butt out of bed and get this cleaned up because it was your responsibility that you should have done when you were awake.
That's our generation. That's how we were raised.
Ye
So if you're
I haven't
wondering,
done that one,
if
but
you wonder what generation we are,
duh.
yeah,
That one puts me over that thought because we talk about this, how we influenced our children versus how we were influenced, and influence is a big word here in terms of generality. I haven't gone to the point where I drag my kid out of bed,
I would never do it.
but I think it might be effective.
Maybe in your case, yeah, but I do remember that my father would get a bucket or the pot that someone didn't wash. He'd put
Mhm.
everything there and he'd just drop it on your bed, and it was like, oh, but he only had to do that once or twice, and we never did it again.
Right, right, right.
But that's the kind of
You
thing.
got the point.
But invisible leadership is trusting the people under you to do what you hired them to do.
Yeah, and I think that all comes back, just like you said, it comes back to building a team. I like the fourth step that we've got here too that we haven't covered yet, and this is up yours, charisma for purpose.
What does that mean?
Well, according to this, the focus shifts from charismatic individuals to the power of the shared mission.
In other words, that charisma is more of everybody's on the same boat. Everyone wants the same end. We all want to win. And that's the charisma. The charisma is shared. We all want. Basically, Apple is a perfect example of that that charisma of purpose. Apple, they hire people with that same kind of energy, with that same kind of drive to want the best of the best and be part of the best. And with that charismatic purpose, everyone in Apple feels that same way. I'm not putting out a product that I'm associated with that's going to be bad in any way. So charismatic purpose doesn't mean that the leader has charisma. It means that that charisma is spread out among everybody.
Right.
We all care.
Well,
That
it's a matter of, in my terms, it's a matter of taking responsibility or taking credit for what gets done.
now I'm going to take this off on a whole nother lane.
like we ever divert from anything.
Well, charisma of purpose, I see it as, you know, when someone's like, "Well, I applied for this job and they didn't hire me. It's because they didn't like how my hair was purple or whatever." Okay? The charisma of purpose includes the fact that you have the same mission, you have the same values, your employees have the same everything, so that when you are walking into a business or representing this bigger business, you look like the business. I mean, that's the whole power thing of charismatic purpose is you are all owners. You're not owners, but you treat
Right.
yourself and your position, no matter where you are in the chain of work, that it is your business. That's why I say Apple's such a great example.
Well,
You're never going to,
military is a great example
yes,
of that too. I mean, if you can walk down the street in my day, okay, in the military, you could walk down the street and go, that guy's Army, that guy's Air Force, that guy's a Marine. Okay.
they walk,
Navy was always kind of skeptical
they,
about which one they
they
were,
walk in
but
purpose.
they walk with a purpose. They've got the male or female, it
They,
doesn't matter.
they fit
And
their,
then we went through a stage here recently where people could walk down the street and you would never know that they're military because the military had laxed their standards for a while there. And these individuals didn't look military. It's even right now, I can still have a conversation with somebody that a retired individual at the bar,
you can still see 'em.
and I'll look at him and go, "You're an officer, weren't
The
you?"
way you walk, the way you hold yourself, everything. It's
The way
important.
you look, there's something about the aura.
Well, and that's why, when I do trainings, I talk about you have to show up as your best version of you because your persona is your brand. For those of you who have your own businesses, your persona is your brand. If you are walking around and you're wearing torn up clothes and they've got mud on it, your nails are dirty, your hair is always disheveled, you always just look out of sorts and say, "Hi, I'm an estate rep, and I do legacy program." I'm not trusting you. And so
Purple hairs and nose rings and
you've got to be your
tattoos.
brand. Because if you are completely on tattoos, nose rings, all that, and you say, "I take care of retirement funds," people are looking at you doing, you can't even, you
Right.
don't know what these things are going to do to you when you're 80. When you're my age, you're not going to look that cute with all that because it will stretch and it will move, those kind of things. And so in your minds, you may be the sharpest person in your entire industry,
Right.
but in the mindset of another person looking to hire you, they're thinking, if you don't know what your long-term effects are on what you just did to your
Mhm.
body, you're not going to know the long-term effects on what happens with my life. And then they detach. So remember, you are your brand. And with this invisible leadership, it's all the same thing. That leader doesn't have to say, "I'm the leader and listen to me." It's, "I'm the leader, I care, I care. Trust me and I trust you." That's the bottom line of invisible leadership.
Enough said. You're trying to get as much as you can in 17 minutes.
Yeah, but the thing is you do have to be careful with invisible leadership because some people will appear to be capable of handling what you've placed on them. You need to check on them often. Not what have you done? What's your checklist? But hey, come into the office in 2 days and tell me where you are, and
Right.
what do you think you're going to be able to handle in the next X amount of time? In increments. And do you want me to speed this timeline up, or do you want me to spread it out more? How much time do you need? You need to ask those kind of questions because when you have an employee, they're going to want to be the best employee, and they're going to say, "Yes, I can do it. Yes, I've got this." And then they start doing it and they can't. And they're too afraid to come back to you to say, "I can't handle this." And if you get that, you get this domino effect of things, especially if you actually have a product that must leave
Mhm.
your business. If you have that one person that says, "I've got this," and then they don't, it domino effects that nothing gets done. So be careful
Well,
with
I have to kind of play devil advocate on this one because I agree with everything that you've said and everything that I've said because I've said it. When we look at employers nowadays, they're looking for the employee that you and I are talking about. That's where it's difficult.
it's defining them.
It's the finding that, and when you get a hold of them, you got to keep them. But finding that individual nowadays, because of the way that we as Gen Xers raised our children, they're hard to find. They don't always have that sense of responsibility, that sense of, for every action there is a reaction. They just don't have it because we didn't ingrain it in it, or we could blame everybody. We can blame the school system.
And this is a
We could do everything.
generalization, but
This is very generalization because my kids are totally two different kids. I got one that can't keep his room clean, and I got another one who's married now. I mean, that's just a generalization of the difference between the two of them. One is a left and one is a right. They're total, almost polar opposites of each other. Trying to find somebody who my kids are both responsible when they go to work. Okay. My daughter, she goes to work, she finds the job. My son, on the other hand, loves where he's at and is never going to leave where he's at. And you try to tell him to do something else, and he goes, "No."
I'm good.
He's good. He's stuck in his rut, even though he could do so much more. But being responsible enough that he goes to work, in fact, he's early every day. In fact, he's too early every day.
Yeah, he loves what he
He
does.
loves what he does.
And there's nothing wrong with that. So
No.
he doesn't have to move. He's happy where he is until he's not, and then he can move.
Yeah, but he'll never move because he's always stuck in the same
Well, and
place.
that's
But
okay.
that's beside the point. That's
But
me
that-
bitching about my
That's
children.
you putting on your expectations onto your children. So, like,
So anyhow, as far as employers go, that's what I was saying. As far as employers go, employers are having a rough and a difficult time finding these type of people.
it doesn't mean they're not there. Okay. So that just means your hiring process is a whole nother process. And you need to make sure you're good at that. And
Mhm.
whoever's doing the hiring has equivalent, well, that shared charismatic leadership thing we were talking about, charismatic purpose, because that way they will find someone who will fit that purpose, that vision, that value that your company has.
It's totally the chicken and the egg thing.
Yeah.
I got to find the individual so that I can train that individual to train other individuals. But if I can't find the individual, how do I get to that?
Well, you're the first one to hire.
So I'm setting the example.
You are setting the example. The invisible leadership, you are the example. You are the ideal employee. And therefore, you hire someone that you think will make up the difference for what you think you lack. What?
I'm not the perfect example of all of that. So should I be talking about this?
Yes, because the funny thing about that is those who criticize, they see it. Doesn't mean they have to be able to do it.
Those who teach, or no, those who can't teach, or those who
Those who can't do, teach.
yeah, something like that. I'm a lousy bowler, but boy, can I teach how to bowl.
But you're observant. So you're not like a stellar singer either, but you can sing and you can hear
And I've got
notes.
to.
Yeah, you can hear it. So just because
Hey, I did a good job the other night.
yes, you did.
I got to brag on myself. I did a good job the other
But
night.
that's the whole thing is when you have invisible leadership, you as a leader, you should recognize the people who are working well under that type of leadership. Recognize them every once in a while because they are silently working without a lot of guidance. Way just popped in my head. Remember in high school, your teachers always told you, okay, tomorrow the assignment is due, it'll be this, and we're going to be talking about this and blah, 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 blah. And they would give you a list of everything. And then when you get to college, they give you a syllabus on the first day and they never tell you when anything is
Nothing
due.
else.
So that's crazy, but it's invisible leadership. Giving you what is expected and never following up until the end of the semester. And they do, you didn't turn in 25 of your assignments. What?
You didn't remind me to look at
You
the checklist.
You didn't remind me. It's not my problem.
I gave you the information. You should have retained it.
So with invisible leadership, although you're giving them the authority to do their job without you micromanaging them, you do need to touch base and say, this is due in X amount of time. Are you ready? Will you be ready? Do you need help to get ready? Those kind of things.
This has been a long, serious one. This is pretty serious for the new year.
It is, but it's a new year. And
We've got new topics too.
well, it's a new year. And even though people like new year, new me, I'm saying new year, old you, bring in more of the best you. Don't get rid of the old you. Just keep stepping stone. Yeah, drop the bad things that didn't work, the things that didn't work, and build on the things that do work and the things that you want to incorporate. Just use your 2025 and past as a stepping stool. Oh, ooh, no, cornerstone for what you want to come through next.
This is driving me crazy. It's off
Why are you going to fix it right now?
because we're at the end of the video. Nobody will ever see it anyway.
Yeah, they will.
They'll never make it this far.
Yes, they will.
By the way, we do have one book to send. You know that, right?
Then send it.
I got to get it from you. We have one book to send.
Okay, why are we doing this right now?
I don't know because I just thought about it.
I
Anyway.
know. And I saw her write, and she said you already have her address, so it's all good.
Yep.
Anyways,
Anyway,
invisible leadership. You don't need to manage your people, even if they're virtual. You don't have to micromanage if you hired correctly in the first place. You might want to micromanage at the beginning just to make sure they really have it. And once they've proven they've got it, let them go. And then touch base. Invisible leadership. Just make sure they're not being overburdened, okay?
just thinking all the wisdom you've just shared.
This is right up my alley. I could do this show without you.
but you're so serious.
It's a training.
You're not having fun today.
No, I am having fun. I love this stuff. And if I had more time, I'd go elaborate more. But the whole thing is, we as leaders, and I hate to tell you this, even if you don't want to be, you're a leader to somebody. We as leaders, we take this thought that as a leader, we must be in charge and everyone must know we are in charge. If you are truly the leader, everyone knows you. Okay? So don't stress about it. And if you aren't the strongest leader, go on YouTube, watch our shows, do whatever you need to do, but grow as a leader so you become that person that everyone does. That's the leader. I don't even need to ask. I want to follow them. That is the power of invisible leadership. So my name is Dr. Michelle Moroz.
I think we're at the end of our trail.
Yes.
And I'm Brian Swanson.
We are Denim & Pearls. We are business casual.
With pearls of wisdom.
From the porch. Be sure to like, share this one with a friend that you think really needs to hear it. And remember, it's 2026.
Oh, focus on YouTube too, by the way. Get over there and subscribe to YouTube because YouTube is, we need a little help on YouTube.
We need subscribers. We haven't pushed the whole YouTube thing. So start subscribing and tell your friends to subscribe on YouTube and help us get our numbers up.
And of course, Facebook, but YouTube is a big one.
Yeah, Facebook's always there. Sounds good? So make sure you like, share, go to YouTube and subscribe. And we will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. And until then,
we might be in a different location next week.
I said bat time, same bat channel.
Yeah.
I didn't say same bat location because it is next week. We will be moving. This background will not be here anymore. So, peace.
Thank you for joining us on the porch. We hope you're enjoying the Denim & Pearls podcast, where we share the nuances and lessons we've garnered from throughout our combined 40 years of life experiences. Talk from the porch is always serious, but full of laughter, and we're glad you're here with us.